I really like Callaway drivers, but in the past few years, they've been a bit boring. In this year's release of the Rogue ST series, it threatens to be just more of the same. However, in this video, I'm going to be testing what is going to be probably their most popular model, and also test it out against some of the other drivers which are going to be competing for the space in your bag. So like most manufacturers, Callaway have released the Rogue ST series in a number of different head designs. We've got the Rogue ST LS, the Rogue ST Max, which is the driver I'm going to be hitting today, and the Rogue ST Max D, still potentially the worst name in golf. They've also got the Rogue LS Triple Diamond, but I'm not going to be testing that in this video. There are very few people who are going to buy that driver. It is the super duper whooper low spinning version. Maybe I'll get my hands on it and see, but for most of you guys, you're probably not going to go near that. So first of all, let's start off around the problems of these new drivers. And it's got nothing to do with performance, but it's got everything to do with perception. Even speaking to Callaway about this driver, they've taken what they've done well from the last 2 to 3 years, improved it, according to Callaway, and just put it into this driver. There's nothing new going on. There is a tungsten speed cartridge, which they've plonked on the back of the drivers, and it's in like a gold color, but that's been done many times before. This is a Ping G425, and they've had a back weight tungsten cartridge for as long as I can remember. Sticking tungsten at the back of the golf club is not a new innovation. Oh. Sounds fantastic out here. That's literally the best drive of it today as well. Oh, look at that. So the specs in this driver, I've got it in 9 degrees. I've got it in an X-stiff shaft, and it does seem quite lofted at address. However, the flight is all right. I was expecting it to be like spinny and not have much power, but actually, as it flies through the air, yeah, I'd give it a solid 7.4 out of 10. Behind the ball, it has quite a big draw bias, so the toe looks like it's much further towards the ball than the heel. So as soon as I set up to this, it just looks like it's going to be going left. Now for many people, especially who slice it, this is not going to be a bad thing. For me, it looks a little bit unusual, but here on the course at Delamere, it's actually been flying all right. And those two are pretty much on top of each other. So off the face, it feels quite soft and yet powerful. I know that's maybe a bit of a contradiction, but it doesn't feel hard. It feels quite bouncy, but like soft bouncy. So like a beach ball. Imagine bouncing a beach ball that went 300 yards. Even when I'm set up to this and I'm hitting this, I know this hole relatively well. I can see from where these are pitching, you know, this isn't exploding out there to new lengths that I've not seen before. Just feels like just a nice driver. A little bit further right, I'll tell you what, that was quite a long way off the heel, but the flight, that was pretty stable, and distance-wise, it looks very, very comparable to those first two. I quite like the colour scheme. It's a matte black finish, which might turn a few people off. I think I've heard a few people comment about it looks a little bit cheaper, but not to my eye. Anything matte black, murdered out, I'm there. I've got time for it. The detailing around the back of it, it looks okay. Again, it's not visually stunning, it just looks okay. These club face, again, it's a flash face design. Just gonna stand and admire that drive for one moment. And this is artificially, intelligently designed-y. Basically, Callaway put this club face and club head into a supercomputer and say, what's gonna make the ball go the furthest? What's gonna give most forgiveness across the face? Now, they're still putting their trust in Skynet. Listen, we've seen this story before. It's not going to end well. The club head again features the jailbreak technology, which connects the sole of the club to the crown. And there's nothing wrong with the face. There's nothing wrong with the jailbreak technology. But again, it's been here before. I think this driver, if you get it, even though it performs well, it's not got those like talking points. Like when you're chatting to your mates and one of them pulls a stealth out, they're like, oh, look at this club face. It's carbon, it's red. Look how exciting it is, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't matter if it improves the performance, it just gets people talking. While this driver, it might perform really well, but it's not going to be much of a talking point. And that's slightly annoying because, like, out here, it's flying great. So for this test, I'm just going to start blasting balls away with the Rogue Max, get all the data that I possibly can, and then I will test it out against the hottest driver in golf, obviously the TaylorMade Stealth. Let's actually have a look at those results and see what's happened. So again, I tried to match up my swing speeds here. So the Stealth on average, I was 115.8, and with the Callaway, I was 115.5. A few spikes and a few low ones here and there, but pretty consistently around those numbers. I'm actually shocked at how well I should control my swing, to be honest with you. And the numbers here are super interesting. So let's focus on carry distance first of all. So average 286 with the Stealth, 284 with the Rogue ST Max. Total distances 310 with the Stealth versus 306 with the Callaway. Now, if I'm being honest with you, that is something I did expect. TaylorMade, for the last few years, have been building drivers which go a long way. But with the Max version of the Callaway, that's not entirely what it's all about. You know, we're talking about a driver here focused on finding the fairways, but also what Callaway say about the ST series is it's faster across the face. And we saw this because what I was seeing with the Stealth is when I struck it well, which sounds obvious, but the ball was flying off there. So the fastest ball speed I had was 168.4. Now the fastest swing speed I had with the Callaway was 165. You're going to hit the TaylorMade further. But on average, my ball speeds with the Callaway from across the face were faster by a mile an hour. But not only that, with the Stealth, when I hit it out the heel or the toe, the ball speed dropped considerably. So on average, those strikes with the Stealth were down at about 160 miles an hour. Whereas with the Callaway, they're about 163 miles an hour, so 3 miles an hour faster from across the face. Average spin numbers with the Callaway as well, much more consistent, 2,303, and it was so consistent. I mean, I had one up there about 2,500, but the lowest I had was at 2,000. It was just coming out so consistently. Whereas with the TaylorMade, I was ballooning above 3,000 at points and then dropping down below 1,800s at some points. Now, I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you here, but basically what I'm saying, if you want forgiveness, the Max is going to be more forgiving than the Stealth. The Callaway also felt better than the Stealth. Simple as that. However, what's this Rogue ST trying to be? It's trying to be forgiving. So let's put it up against the G425 Max from Ping. In my opinion, the most forgiving driver out there, and also one of the best selling because it is just an amazing golf club, especially if you don't strike it perfectly out of the center. So let's have that comparison. So one of the worst things that you can eat in this life is something called humble pie, and I am having to munch down on that currently with dollops of custard. I actually think for the first time in a long time, I'm going to be changing my recommendation for most of you guys if you want a forgiving driver from the Ping G425 Max to the Rogue ST Max. So I conducted the same test. I've been out on the course many times with the G425, but numbers wise, they were so similar with the Callaway slightly edging it. So swing speed, again, pretty much identical, 115 miles an hour. Carry distances on average with the Ping, 284. Carry distance on average with the Callaway, 284. Total distances, 306 versus 306. And across pretty much all these numbers, they are identical. There's only one real difference, and that is ball speed. So the Callaway, as far as ball speed from across the face, on average, was coming out at 3 miles an hour quicker. So 161 versus 164. But also the ball speeds across the face for the Callaway were more consistent. When I started to strike towards the heel in the Ping, there was a definite drop off. Whereas with the Callaway, it stayed very consistent. I think Callaway here have actually done what they said to me they had done. So they've managed to get pretty much all the best things from drivers over the past few years that they've made and put them into this model. Again, this does not make it easy to sell. It does not make it easier for you guys to get excited about it. But I cannot remember the last time I hit a driver and thought, you know what? This is actually replacing one of my firm favorites. And that, for me, doesn't happen every day.